In today's episode, we'll be discussing about business valuation reports. To help us today, we have Henry from Bentley's Queensland. Thank you, Henry, for joining us.
Pleasure to be here, Sharon.
So, Henry, a lot of people associate business valuation as something you need to obtain when you sell your business. But in reality, it can be used for so many different purposes.
It's exactly spot on there, Sharon. And those purposes, depending on whatever it is, does vary in terms of what degree of business valuation you need it for. It can vary anywhere from, say, estate planning to business sales or purchase, or to resolve conflict in a court situation.
Okay, let's simplify for our clients. What is business valuation?
Business valuation is a set process where we identify what drives value for a particular business. As part of that process, we identify what are the strong points of a particular business in comparison perhaps to the market in terms of whatever it may be, whether it be revenue, cost, or other key factors. And as part of that process, you help identify, like I said, the key drivers and also the key mistakes or key lost opportunities that this business has gone through.
Then secondly, Henry, then what are the common objectives or purpose for a business valuation being used for?
Overall, it can be summarized as a baseline measure. It is a good place to determine what the business is right now, whether or not this has achieved whatever you want to achieve, such as has your business grown to the value that you said you wanted it to. If you, for estate planning, you may say you want, say hypothetically, pass on a certain amount of dollars to a potential beneficiary. Have you achieved this by passing this business on to this particular person or group of people? Or alternatively, maybe you want to sell your business, say in now or potentially in the future. Has this business achieved the value you said you wanted it to achieve? If it hasn't, or if it has, how will you increase or decrease the value?
It could also be used to obtain a loan for a business. They would generally need to tell a bank that this business actually is worth X amount, hence why they require Y amount from the banks.
It is a great way to get access to further equity for a business, whether it's for future growth or growth plans or further acquisitions, like you said. And it is a great avenue to discuss this not only with banks but also actually with the HO in case there is dispute regarding how much a business is worth. How does business valuation incorporate into estate planning? It's usually when businesses exist that the co-founder or the director wants to pass on to the next generation, but want to split their estate in a more fair manner. Situations such as this, a business valuation is coming extremely handy because it actually puts a real value on a business at a certain point in time.
So I guess really putting simply, a business valuation, it's like an overall checkup at the doctors, where you would be able to, you take, for example, blood tests, you take x-rays to determine where exactly in your business that has issues or require attention.
It is very similar. It is not quite as often as a GP checkup, but it does serve the similar purpose. It helps you identify potential gaps in your business and potential strong points in your business that you know you've identified. And also a side benefit that we've often seen as part of our business valuation procedure is it forces the directors, the shareholders, to actually take real ownership of what is the potential or the actual gaps that they have not utilized.
That's quite important, especially as we kind of mentioned throughout the past episode, which is the new laws and regulations requirements that the ATO and the government has put out, which is directors are not becoming more and more liable for what they're responsible for. So if that's the case, and you want to take accountability and know exactly what you're going to be liable for, and the areas that needs to be amended quickly, that it's been done as soon as possible.
That is definitely a big consideration, especially in the current times. What we've also found, though, is it makes it so much clearer, especially if the information is right then and there. We find that as part of business, owners and directors and people responsible for the business often get lost on the day-to-day targets, monthly targets, yearly targets, whether it be sales, whether it be taxation, whatever it may be. But putting it all in a summarized picture from comparing it 1 year compared to previous years, compared to the market, it does highlight key potholes that effectively exist in the business, whether that be excessive rent, excessive cost, underutilized sales figures. It highlights these in very black and white.
I guess the next point is about valuation reports being a benchmark for a lot of clients. So whether that be, I want to achieve $1 million business value, how do I get there? Second thing will be is, I don't know how much my business is worth, so this could be a good indication as to what your business actually is worth currently as a stand.
Spot on, but it also depends on the purpose. Some people use this valuation on potential sale in 2-3 years or even tomorrow. And some people use it as an indication of how much they've grown their business worth. Now, it changes in purpose, as I stated. Let's say, again, the same business, depending on the purpose, it may vary in terms of how you use it. Let's say for person A, their purpose is to sell the business in 2-3 years. The person A will want to utilize a business valuation to determine whether or not they have achieved their goals. If it has not, they can identify what goals that they have and what opportunities that they are missing to help further grow that business value, say perhaps maximize it in the next 2-3 years. And how do we achieve this? Compared to, say, someone who's very happy with the current way, and they want to make sure to maintain that value going into the future and to maintain a certain cash flow.
Yeah. So in terms of the first case that you talked about, would that mean that by going through the business valuation, like you said, to grow the business, it could mean that they increased investment into intellectual property, like registration of trademark, business names, I guess goodwill, to increase the value of the business?
Correct. To help you find, again, very similar process, I cannot stress this enough, the process is extremely similar, is what does drive a business growth. It may be very different to what drives a business cash flow.
That's correct, yeah.
And helping identify what drives business growth helps the client to focus their energy on a particular area of the business and helps that business growth.
I guess the second sort of scenario as well is a business valuation report provides a benchmark for this, the buyer coming into the business to say on a monthly basis, this is how much they earn on average.
Correct. And in most business sales transactions, should we say, people will look at the past records of the business.
Yes.
What drives value could be an increase in sale, a decrease in cost, a build-up of assets, or shows potential for future growth, or a combination of the above. All these factors do drive a business growth, and whether it be cash flow or looks good on paper. But that also ties in quite well with further banking valuations and what their purpose is for. And they will either support or not support the business valuation. But as part of the whole process, that's what a business valuation does.
Yep.
Is identify these opportunities missed or achieved and how to further grow them.
So what are the costs involved in terms of doing a business valuations? From my experience, it ranges from $2,500 to all the way to $25,000 or $30,000.
The actually range is actually a lot bigger than that, Sharon. Let's say.
Okay.
Let's say a small mom and dad fish and chip shop that you perhaps want your accountant to do a valuation on is perhaps, yes, $2,000, $2,500 to do a valuation where all parties can agree on the value. All the way to, say, valuing a BHP division.
Oh, that would be huge.
That would be a completely different ballgame. And
Yes.
again, whether it be used for a family settlement matter where everybody can get along and agree on a certain value, or it must be reviewed by the courts and where all parties do not agree.
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
So the range is so large simply because it can either be done by your accountant or your accountant who is a certified valuer, where they all apply further checks and disclaimers into the document and for what specific purpose it is used for.
So Henry, you discussed having a valued certifier to do the valuation report. When are the circumstances you actually require someone like that, because they do come with considerable fees, to conduct a business valuation report?
I will stress that the basic steps are very, very similar. A certified valuer adds support for that value not only through trust of accreditation, but also that the value must be backed up in detailed calculations and detailed consideration of industry factors that comes into play, and it must be backed up usually in courts. So technical details, appearance, grilling, should we say, is usually incorporated into time consideration of this particular valuation. All the not necessary documents is also incorporated into them, and instead of, say, a friendly discussion with your accountant, it is more a tussle between multiple parties on how a certain valuation is done.
For the viewers, I guess the crucial point to understand is in Australia, business valuators as well as accountants who's doing the valuation of the business have a strict criteria that they must follow in terms of determining the value of the business. So hence, with a valued certifier comes credibility, and hence why they become more expensive depending on their extensive experience, I guess the qualifications that they have. And am I missing anything?
I will also state that no two valuers usually will come up with the exact same figure.
Yes.
In court cases, in situations where I've dealt with valuations at the highest level, often valuers come into blows with regards to how they value or how they come up with their valuations. So that is also a good and bad thing about a valuation report, is it provides a baseline for the value, but it often does not correlate with two valuers together.
That's true. So if you want to see how your business is performing as it is now, or you just want an overall checkup, or maybe you want to have an investor coming into your business, or maybe you're trying to apply for a loan, Business Valuation Report will help you significantly. If you want to find out more information about business valuation, please feel free to contact Henry. His details are in the export profile video, or just MYG Legal, and we'll be able to answer your inquiries. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and continue to get great information for your business success. Thank you.